It's been a long summer, man. It's been a long summer. All sorts of speculations, all sorts of rumors, all sorts of deal on, deal off, involving Nigerian players, involving players generally. But a number of Nigerian players have made moves this summer. And I want to just talk about particularly the most recent transfers, but also just remind people of some of the other transfers that we have seen over the summer that people might have forgotten about. So I'll get into, we spoke about Moses Simon. Moses Simon joined Paris FC. Paul Onuachu joined Trabzonspor. We had Victor Osimhen moving to Galatasaray permanently. We had Wilfred Ndidi joining Besiktas. Chidozie Awazem joining Nantes. Papa Daniel joining NK Celje. Osayi Samuel joining Birmingham City. Sikiru Alimi moved to Algeria joining JS Sora. Leon Balogun joined Aris Limassol. Shemi Ajayi joined Hull City. Akintola joined Hull City. Edna Emade moved to Real Sociedad. Rinsola Babajide moved to AS Roma. Sikira Tuisa moved to Binos Netanya in Israel. Rashid Atajibade moved to Paris Saint-Germain. And then some other ones that happened over this past week that I want us to highlight. The first one that I'll ask you about, Smith Layi, is not a transfer to a club, but is a transfer away from a club. Emmanuel Dennis Bonaventure has left Nottingham Forest via mutual termination of his contract. He's now a free agent, which means that whenever he chooses to, he can sign for any club because he doesn't have to be within the window, considering the fact that he's unaffiliated. What do you think about this decision for Dennis to terminate his contract with Nottingham Forest? Do you think it was a good decision that he made? And what do you think the future bodes for this guy?
You ask me that is it a good decision? I just think that, it must be a good decision for him to terminate that contract because there's no way that Dennis will not be smiling to the bank. There is a mutual termination of contracts. So that means that they have to pay off Emmanuel Dennis. So, it's good for him, the financial part, but career-wise is what I don't really understand. It's a guy that, we really actually want to rate really highly. Though he's not fan favorite in Nigeria, he missed the AFCON 2021, due to him not wanting to play for Nigeria in 2022. So, it's just a transfer that it's just a move away that is like a mixed feeling. For me, I think he can actually go to a new club now and go and start afresh. Things didn't really work out well for him in Nottingham Forest. So, and the best thing for him is to start afresh. See, you cannot lose twice. Football, if football is not going, there must be pepper in the pocket. So, and I think that it will be smiling to the bank, with some pans because it's a mutual termination. Because I remember when Kelechi terminated his contract with Kasimpasa in Turkey. He said it now that there was a smile to the bank. So, so I know that Dennis too will be smiling to the bank. So for me, he's getting money, but I think that he needs to have like a rethink. You don't want to play this football, you don't want to start singing, anything. Just he should look for what he wants to do. I just think that he needs to start afresh.
Smith says start singing. Emmanuel Dennis, like you said, is not in the good books of a lot of Nigerian fans for several things that happened. We know the penalty that he fought for, that he missed, the other incidents that he has had at his different clubs. You rightly mentioned.
Not coming to AFCON.
You rightly mentioned, yes, when he chose to stay at his club rather than come and play for the country, so he hasn't shown that commitment to Nigerian fans. In turn, Nigerian fans haven't shown the love back to him. He's had a tough time of recent, but now he's unaffiliated. Like you said, whenever a contract is terminated like that, the player would have gotten a sizable payoff. I have another player that I spoke to that told me that his club had offered to pay him 80% of his contract to leave. But he told them no and said, you have to pay me 100% or I'm not going anywhere. So whenever players get contract termination, they always go home with a sizable book and then they can go and sign for another club elsewhere. So I really don't know what the future holds for Emmanuel Dennis, to be honest. Like, I don't know where he's going to sign. I don't think any Premier League club is going to take the chance on him. Maybe he goes to the Championship. Maybe he goes to League One. Maybe he goes to Turkey. Or maybe somebody in France or goes back to Belgium where he once was a star and tries to make it happen there. But I'm wishing him all the best. It's going to be an interesting one to see what happens in his future. I don't know if he's ever going to be in the Nigerian Super Eagles picture again, but at least, I don't like to see Nigerian players not having the best time. So I really hope that things work out for him. I really do hope so.
Yeah.
Mm.
I wish him the best too.
Thank you, Viral Moment says, I am pumped up for today's conversation. Yes, you should be pumped up because we have an exciting one. Going on at the moment. He says Smith Layi is a real comedian.
No, it's going to abuse me too. So I'm just trying to. I know that he's more of an entertainer too. He entertains and things like that. So that's why I think that we're looking at career towards that. You never
so like, let me also ask you another transfer that happened over this past week. Gabriel Osho, you know, I've mentioned his name a couple of times when talking about potential defender options that we have. But Gabriel Osho just made a move that personally made me shocked. You know, he left AJ Oxlade in the French League One to sign with Cardiff City in the English League One, from League 1 to League One. You know, League One, but a different kind of League One entirely. You know, leaving a top 5 league in the world to join the 3rd tier of English football. Help me understand, what could have been the reason behind his decision? Is it a family thing? Is Cardiff going to pay him some millions that he's not going to get paid at Auxerre? Like, what do you think can be the reason for this transfer?
Everything you have mentioned, you know, like he's going, according to reports, he's going to be getting, you know, a lot more in England. You know, they pay more. He's going to be getting a lot more in England, and he's also homesick. You know, these any boys don't like to play abroad. You know, except those that are really ambitious among them. You know, according to a reliable source, he left Luton Town to play in the top division for Super League opportunity. And when the Super League opportunity is not forthcoming, you know, back to you know, he just renewed his contract, you know, with Ozebi what left. So he's just someone that he cannot really handle that. You know, why can't I? I'm waiting for opportunities not coming. You know, they just picked you there. I just joined the league. You know, not quite long. So and some guy is injured. Will I even get opportunity? He's going to come back very soon. So for me, I just think that it's both. He wants to be close to his family and also, you know, also a very big payday. So, you know, for me, you know, with due respect to him, I don't think he's a player I really rate, you know, that much. But you know that in Nigeria now, we like anything is foreign law and things like that. I just think that Wazem is a proper better defender than him. You know, Wazem can play in the back three and the back four, but I don't trust Osho in the back four system. So I just think that he's back to his level, and I think that that's his level, AyoT. Let him go and be, you know, at least he's in Cardiff there. His only train that will take him to London if there's anything going on in London, you know. So, you know, any boys we always like to actually stay around there, you know, around.
You say that is level. So are we implying that Cardiff City is a higher level or similar level to Auxerre?
No, I just think that if you look at, he's not a standout player. You know, I just think that even in playing that Auxerre, it's going to be hard for a higher, better French side to come for him. You know, it's just that level. You know, it's just that level. So, and you know, he can play the championship. Don't get me wrong, he can play very well in the championship. But I just think that I think Cardiff City, you know, they have financial war chest. You know, so they can afford to pay him more money. So, and I think he has worked with the manager before, so the manager knows him very well. So I think that he wants to go there. So it's just that about ability. It's not about Auxerre and Cardiff City. Is about his own ability. We've seen some players that played for us there and they, you know, they move on to higher, but I don't see him moving. I just think that is just his, you know, it's like a player that, if not because of that system, I don't think he'll be starting for us there. I think it's going to be that, is it Akparagbo that will be playing alongside Mensah. So it will be very hard for him. So I'm happy he's back to England. I think mental health is the most important thing. He's back around his family and it's good.
Does that completely remove him from the Super Eagles conversation going forward?
Bye-bye. Bye-bye tonight. If a player in the championship and I won't get the follow-up, what about you in League One? Come on. It's bye-bye.
Oh, okay. Shout out to Gabriel Osho. Wishing him all the best in this season. Your boy, Smith Layi, you're one of the people that big this boy up the most. And unfortunately for him, it's not your fault by any means, but things haven't gone so well for him over his career since making the initial move from Belgium. I'm talking about Gift Orban. Gift Orban has now signed with Hellas Verona in the Italian Serie A on a season-long loan from Hoffenheim. He only just joined Hoffenheim in January. We thought, that was the chance for him to revive himself. Played a few games, scored a couple of goals, and then the performances tailed off from there. I mean, 6 months, somehow they've decided that they're tired of him and they don't want him anymore. The deal includes an option for them to make the transfer permanent at the end of the season. So it's kind of like an audition. They want to see how well it does. They also want to see how well they do in the Serie A before they, make it permanent. What do you think about this move for Gift Orban? Is this a good step for him? Do you think that Gift Orban can go back to the player that we all thought that he was when he was lighting it up for Ghent?
He's a cat with 9 lives, who would have the opportunity to play in the German Bundesliga, French league, fail in the French league, moved to German Bundesliga, failed there in the Italian Serie A. Now, the competition for that failure next is going maybe probably in Spain or in England, So he's just a very lucky player. You said it before now that for a player to move from that Lyon to Hoffenheim, this guy is lucky. He said this. I remember when he moved, he said this guy is very lucky. He is lucky. So I expect him to even look at himself and do well. He has been trying to test water in all the leagues. Maybe we end up in NBFL, but I'm joking. I just think that he needs to be settled now and perform well. I rate him highly because I believe he's a very good player. But what I cannot control is character. The first time I saw him comment on your post here, it's like he said, sure. Those type of things. So you have been reading this thing for right. You can't even comment. He said, don't mind them. Sure. So, it's just a character. If a player got that potential and just can't match that with character, it's going to be very hard for a player to actually to do well. And I think that one of Orban's problem is basically indiscipline, And I think that if you get that one right, I think he's going to be a very, very good player. But time is really running out.
I think with Gift Orban, no one can doubt that he's a talented player. The talent is there. We've seen it. I remember even when he was making an initial move from Ghent, one of the things that I was saying was that he's very raw, but he needs to be refined. And that refinement does not seem to have come, even though we're now 3 years past when he was at Ghent. By now, you'd have thought that he would have adapted to playing at a serious level. And like you mentioned, character is such a big thing. The way you act off the field, the things that you say, the things that you do, they all matter. These things matter at the highest level. You have to be professional. And he has had some issues with that. This is a boy that some years ago we're talking about him being in the Super Eagles and playing.
Arsenal.
We're talking about Arsenal exactly, where he went to now make a silly comment that he doesn't want to go to a team like Arsenal. But it's just unfortunate. And you rightly said, man, I like that the description that you gave, that he's like a cat with 9 lives, because usually it's the foreigners that fail upwards, but he seems to be failing and still be getting a good opportunity. He didn't do well in France, got a move to Germany. Didn't do well in Germany, now he's got a move to Italy. If he doesn't do well in Italy now, next year that he's joining Villarreal in La Liga. That one does not work now. They will say, okay, he's going to Aston
Wolves
in the Premier League. So somehow he's going through all the top 5 leagues, and people continue to take a chance on him. I think that speaks to his natural ability and talent. People see that even though he's not working out, this boy is talented, this boy is good, and they want to believe that maybe they are the ones that can get him right. It's like if maybe there's this babe now that she has dated 1, 2, 3 guys, and you know that this babe, she has cheated on all of them, but you just believe, say, if Nami she not go cheat. If Nami she not go cheat, she'll be very out to me. That's why everybody's taking a chance on him. And I really hope that things work out for him. I like him. He's a talented boy. I think he's one of those players, that you would just say needs to lock in, needs to focus. Enough of the distraction. You've done everything that you need to do. You've bought all your drip, you've done all your tattoos, you've had your phone on social media. It's time for you to lock in. I know he's young, I know he's Gen Z, but you need to focus and realize that you're a professional football player. You are getting paid a lot of money to do your job, so you have to do your job well. And Hellas Verona is not going to be easy. That's the truth, because they're not a top team. They're not a team that is competing. Chances might not be easy to come by, but when you do get your chances, make sure you take your chances so that whatever happens to your club, you can hold your head high. and see that you delivered. Nobody will be able to look at you and say you were a flop or you were a bad signing. I'm really rooting for him. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I will watch some of his games this season. I'm not going to be watching Hellas Verona week in, week out. But when they play Inter, when they play Juve, when they play,
Atalanta.
Atalanta, my word, that's if Lookman is playing for Atalanta, but we have to wait and see. Either way, I'm rooting for him. I really hope that things go well. And yeah, he just joined Hellas Verona. After the international break, he'll be in line to make his debut.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We have a comment here from Bobby. He says, exactly, the Orban thing is so confusing. Is it a culture shock that is affecting him? Smilai, do you think it's culture shock?
I don't think so. I just think that is this. I don't think it's culture talk. I just think that he needs to get his head right. That he's a footballer. Footballer needs more discipline. He needs to actually put their heads down. So I just think that he got a lot of good people around him now. I can actually advising. So I think it's not really a culture shock. I just think that he's talking to himself and knowing to get his inner man to do better.
All right. That's that on Gift Orban. Another striker, another transfer. This one, a permanent transfer. From CD9 to CD33. Cyriel Dessers has joined Greek club Panathinaikos on a deal until 2028. Cyriel Dessers, of course, last played for Rangers FC and was quite a good player for them. They signed Igamane. Igamane started to bench him a little bit. Now him and Igamane have left together,
Mm-hmm.
But yes, Dessers joining Panathinaikos. I saw that when we made the post, people say, Panathi, waiting, which one is Panadol? Which blah, blah, blah. Panathinaikos finished second in the Greek league last season. They are going to be playing in the Europa League this year.
Mm-hmm.
And they're a team that has ambitions to win their league and to compete and go as far as possible in Europe. Smith Layi, this move for Cyriel Dessers, do you think this is a good step for him? And just before you answer, to give people further context, the Greek league is ranked, I think, 11th or 12th in Europe, whereas the Scottish league is 20th in Europe. So on paper, the Greek league is a better league than the Scottish league. But Smith Layi, what are your thoughts on this transfer?
It's a money transfer.
And
it's good for him. Don't forget that Dessers is no longer a young player. He had taste playing in the Syria, playing in the Dutch league, playing the Belgian league, playing the Scottish league. Where is again? That's has come out. So he wants to try new thing. And don't forget the abuse, the curses that they rained on him when he was in Rangers too. So for me, I think he's like a new start for him. He's going to a country that you enjoy your life there. Greece is known for its very beautiful, atmosphere and everything. So apart from living the chilly, cold weather in Scotland, he's going to Greece to enjoy money and also to enjoy the weather there. So I'm happy for him, and I hope that this time will work out well. They'll be playing the Europa League. They beat Shakhtar on penalty, to actually play in the Europa League. So I'll tell you that they are not really a small team. So we compete in the Europa League just like Rangers. We compete also in the Europa League, but at least it's better leaving a team that just lost 6-0. I mean, to
Club Brugge.
the Club Brugge. I think it's better. So, but because there's more visibility in Scotland, let's be honest ourselves, than Greece.
in Greece.
That's why people think that Scotland is highly rated than it. Not play against Kima Rock. I mean, no. The Greek league is actually what highly rated, but I think they show the Scottish league more than the Greek league. That's the reason why a lot of people did not really think that it's a very good move. But for me, I think it's a very good move, and I think that it can actually do well and perform well.
I mean, you're right. The major thing is the visibility. I mean, Scotland is still in the UK, so they still have the press, they have the buzz, they have the excitement. But the reality of it is that the Scottish League is not a top league by any means. What do you really see other than the year that Rangers went to the Europa League final? You don't really see much of these teams in Europe, and a lot of the teams in the league are very weak teams. I remember speaking to a player who was playing for Livingston back in the day, and he told me, he's like, see, the top Scottish teams are like mid-level championship teams. That's what the guy said. And that was a player that was in the Scottish league. So it's not the strongest league in the world. Now, Greek league, yes, there are some weak teams in Greece. There are some teams that you breeze past, but at least they have top teams like the Olympiakoses of this world, the AEK Athens, they have the Panathinaikoses, and some of the other teams that are going to be competing, PAOK, that are going to be competing. So it's going to be interesting to see how he does. Like you said, it's potentially a money move. I think, after being a journeyman and playing in several leagues around the world at 30, he's allowed to say, you know what, let me go and enjoy myself. He just got married, I think was last year. Let him take his beautiful wife, let him go enjoy the Greek islands, enjoy the Greek weather, enjoy the Greek food, enjoy themselves and make some money, So I'm not mad at it at all. I'm not mad at it at all. I think that this does not diminish his chances of playing for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. I still think that he ranks in the pecking order, probably second or third right now. And it's for the other people to really show that they deserve to be there ahead of him before we can say anything about him not being in the league. Well, based on the strength of his league, his league is still stronger than some other leagues that players are playing in, even though some of our players still have stepped up in their league this this deadline day. But yes, we're happy about that for Cyriel Dessers. I'm wishing him all the very best. And we look forward to seeing him in the colors of Panathinaikos. Shout out to Cyriel Dessers. Okay, let's keep it moving. Another player that has made a transfer this past week. This is another deadline day transfer. Talking about strikers that have upgraded themselves. We have Toluwalashe Emmanuel Arokodare. It is tea time in Wolverhampton. The 24-year-old has joined Wolverhampton Wanderers FC in the English Premier League from KRC Genk. After finishing as the top goal scorer in Genk last season, winning the Ebony Show Award, Arokodare is taking his talents to the UK, to United Kingdom, to England to play among some of the finest and best strikers in the world. He's joining the team potentially playing alongside or competition with Jurgen Strand Larsen, and this is a team that has started the season struggling, but are hoping to be able to steady themselves and have a good year. Smith, like, what do you think about Arokodare to Wolves? How do you think he's going to fare in the English Premier League?
So he's a guy that really wants to join, he wants to move to England. He thinks that he can do well in England, and he's got his move, And he's fortunate to actually get that move, because on paper, Ono actually did better, in that league than him, and he couldn't get the move. But now he got that move, and kudos to actually work on that contract. For me, the move is like of the upward trajectory, because I don't think Genk is gonna do anything this season. I don't see them doing anything this season. So I think that he's going to be playing against Arsenal, against the big teams in the Premier League. So I think that there's going to be more visibility too. So a good season, like a 10 or 15 goals season, for Arokodare, can take him to a top 6 club side in England. So that is it. You don't have to show that you can do it. When you show you can do it, people will gamble on you, because I put it in the Premier League. Look at Mohamed Kudus. Look at Brendan Johnson for Nottingham Forest. So they got the move that they deserved, when they actually performed well, even for a lower team. So for me, it's a good move for Arokodare, and I wish him the very, very best of luck. This is the type of move I want for a young striker like this. So now you can know that, okay, if I perform well now in this league, I think Super Eagles call up with regular thing. It's not as if are they calling me enough this time around. It's going to be like, where's my letter? That is it. So I'm happy for him. And join the likes of Yakuba Igbeni, the great player that played in the Premier League before for Nigeria, So he's lucky. At least now, the way it is now, he's going to play the Premier League even ahead of before Victor Osimhen and Victor Boniface, to tell you how life is. So well done to Arokodare. I wish him the very best of luck.
Yeah. Arokodare to Wolverhampton Wanderers. I'm happy for him. Congratulations to him. This is a good move in my opinion. I think he fits into the Wolverhampton Wanderers squad quite well. In the past when he was reportedly linked to Bayern Munich, and I said I didn't think that he was a Bayern Munich player. Some people took offense to that. He took offense to that. But this is exactly the kind of move that I envision for him. I envision for him going to a team that is not a top team in the world, but still playing at the competitive level. And I'm happy that he's been able to get this kind of move. He described himself as a player that has the physicality, that is tall, he's strong, he's fast, and he believes that he has the tools to play well in the English Premier League. And I honestly think that playing for a team like this, that has other players that have done well in the past, that have a similar archetype, I think that it can work out well for him. The coach knows how to use a player like him. It's all about whether or not he can deliver, and I'm going to trust him to deliver. I think that when he gets opportunities, Arokodare is a good finisher. His hold-up play is decent. Yes, he might have to improve some things like his movement off the ball. He might have to get used to playing at that faster pace because the Premier League pace is different. When you touch the ball, before you know it, the defender is right on you. Little things like that. But this is the kind of step up that we want to see from our Nigerian players. You do well in Belgium, you go to the English Premier League. If you do well at Wolverhampton Wanderers, you get to a team like Aston Villa, you get to a team like Newcastle. And then from there, who knows, if you even just blow it out of the water, you might be signing for a top 5, top 6 club. So I'm really, really happy for him. I really, really think that this makes the Super Eagles squad that much better, makes the competition that much sweeter. Everybody knows that everybody is playing at a competitive level week in, week out. And if he does get a call up, people cannot doubt his, his deservedness of the call up because we are going to be watching him week in, week out. And Arokodare is someone who likes the spotlight. He likes the media. He likes showing off his drip. He likes the attention. So playing in a league like England will fit well for him because there's a lot of attention in England. But it can also be negative attention if you're not delivering. So that is the most important thing. He needs to play well. He needs to deliver. He needs to score goals. I am setting a target of 10 goals and 5 assists for him this season. I think that if he hits that number, without a doubt, everybody will say Arokodare had a good first season. Of course, it depends on whether or not he starts, how many games he starts, how many games he plays, and things like that. But I think that that kind of number would be undoubtedly a good number for him. Depending on his game time, if he gets less than that, you can still say he did well in the minutes that he played. But I'm sure even he would want to go and do well, considering the fact that he's coming in with the reputation of being the best goal scorer in Belgium. So I'm looking forward to it. In my opinion, I think this transfer, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 in my rating. I think it's a very, very, very good move. And I'm excited to see what happens for him. Tolu Arokodare to Wolverhampton Wanderers. Good luck. Okay. Yes, I see the comments from you guys, and I've also seen the post from Sevilla FC. Officially, Kelechi Iheanacho's contract has been terminated. Mutual agreement to terminate his contract makes Kelechi a free agent, gives him the ability to sign with whatever club, in whatever country at whatever time that he wishes. Just like we were saying about Dennis, Kelechi would have gotten a sizable payout to be able to terminate his Sevilla contract. And now he can join any team. Who knows? He might be back in the Premier League because they can sign him now, or he can be in France, he can be in Spain, he can be in Italy, or he can even go to Saudi if he wishes. But yes, obviously, Iheanacho hasn't had the best of time since joining Sevilla. He went on loan to Middlesbrough, didn't have the best of time. Now his contract has been terminated. I wish him all the best, man. Iheanacho, I don't like to disrespect Kelechi because Kelechi has done well in his career. The career that Kelechi has had, I'm telling you that people like Arokodare will be hoping and wishing that they can have the kind of career that he has had, playing in the Premier League consistently for a number of years, scoring goals, winning the FA Cup, and also was a good servant of Nigeria up until the time that Igalo and Osimhen really came into the scene. So I don't want to knock him and make it sound as if, oh, he's a wasted talent or anything like that. No, he has had a good run. Now is not the best of times for him, but he should be proud of what he has achieved and he should aim to achieve some more or just gonna make money and enjoy himself somewhere. But yes, Smith Layi, any thoughts on Kelechi Iheanacho's contract termination at Sevilla?
No, I think that's the best thing because I think they struggle to actually move him on. This season throughout. He did well. Did well. He went to work on himself during summer. This now fitter, slimmer. And but I just think that after that performance, I don't think the fans really accepted him. They didn't take out time again. They just realized that they have to actually move on from him. So I'm really happy that at least he's free now. It's not as if they're going to banish him to like a second team to go and be played. He's free now, so he can join whatever he actually wants to join. So maybe let's see where he's going to actually end up. But I think he'll be smiling to the bank. Maybe he's going to be able to buy more stock. More clothes. So I'm just joking. It's a win-win for him.
Yeah, yeah. It's a win-win, and hopefully he finds a home for himself and it's a home that he enjoys playing his football in and he gets back to the best of his powers. Shout out to Kelechi Iheanacho. Okay, let's keep it going. Like another transfer, another deadline day transfer, another.
Let me say something. That will allow him to join Celtic because Brendan Rodgers is his coach. If you remember, for Leicester City. So it's looking for a way to bring him to Scotland. It's not going to be bad, but let's wait how it pans out.
Okay. Another deadline day transfer, another Premier League player, another Super Eagles player. Our one and only Samuel Chukwueze has joined Fulham FC, now the Niger FC of the English Premier League. He's joining on a season-long loan from AC Milan. He's going to be teaming up with Alex Iwobi and Carl Rimbasi. Chukwueze from Villarreal to AC Milan to Fulham. Also now is playing in another top 5 league. In fact, he's playing in number 1 league in Europe. Samuel Chukwueze, what do you think about this transfer? Do you think Chukwueze is going to impress and have a good time in England?
I will say is a downgrade. That's what I say is a move, is a transfer that on a downward trajectory. But I just think that because of the state of AC Milan currently now, it's a very good move for him. It's a very, very good move for him. So this one will give him the opportunity to play in the Premier League, to play, for clubs, to play against teams like Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea, on a regular basis. A good performance for Samuel Chukwueze in the Premier League. We put on the spotlight. You see me probably teams like Aston Villa, Newcastle, even Chelsea, trying to actually just for his signature. I'm happy for this movement because under Massimiliano Allegri, the current coach of AC Milan, I think he's playing the 3-5-2 formation. I don't understand how Samuel Chukwueze can fit into that formation. So I'm happy that he got a move now to Fulham. And if Marco Silva, actually signs you, I think it's there's something that he observed about you. That's why he signed you. Look at the way he did with that. It's like he's Alex Iwobi's second father. I wouldn't. Iwobi got so many fathers. From Arsene Wenger to
Frank Lampard
to Frank Lang. No, Arsene Wenger to Frank Lampard to Ancelotti. Remember, Ancelotti getting his comment on social media saying he's going to. So it got so many fathers. He's a guy that is very loyal to his coach. So I'm happy that Chukwueze will join it. I would love to see, Chukwueze and Iwobi combined on a regular basis. Just like we for Ayobade and Jennifer. So if you have two people combined together in the final half, so you can see all those 1-2 balls at the edge of the area, for Super Eagles. Then we go kill them during AFCON.
I love it. I think this Chukwueze to Fulham move, one of the things that excites me the most, like you rightly mentioned, is the fact that Marco Silva wants him. Marco Silva is a good coach. By all standards, he's a good coach. I like him. And we've seen how he has worked on some players like Alex Iwobi, and has made them into better players.
Even Pereira, that's this thing, yeah.
So I look at it and I say, maybe this coach can make Chukwueze into a consistent performer. He can improve his decision making because Chukwueze has the ability. I don't think that's in question. That he has the ability. A lot of the time, it's his decision making, knowing the right final ball to play, knowing when to shoot, when to pass, when to keep dribbling, things like that he falters on. So I'm really, really believing that maybe Marco Silva can get him to that level that we need him to be at. I like this move. I'm going to rate this move a 7 out of 10. Yes, on paper, Fulham is a smaller club than AC Milan, but he wasn't playing at AC Milan. He wasn't having a good time, and he needed a new step, he needed a new direction. And Fulham might just be that step that he needs. If he does well in Fulham on loan, they'll sign him permanently, or at the very least, he will advertise himself to another club because I don't think it's an obligation to buy. I think it's an option. So I'm really, really hoping that everything goes well for him. And the potential of him and Iwobi combining that 1-2 tandem. It will be on the left, Chukwueze on the right. It will be through the middle, Chukwueze on the right. Both of them playing through the middle. Who knows what possibilities are there? If they can build that chemistry, they can build that connection. When they come to the Super Eagles of Nigeria, potentially they can show themselves and combine well, and it can be a good impact for us. I'm really, 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 really happy about this one. Another thing that makes me happy is simply the fact that it is another Nigerian player in the English Premier League, playing in the top league in the world, in the strongest division in the world. I am really looking forward to it. Samuel Chukwueze is a very talented, very skilled player. This is a chance for him to show himself to be at another level, for him to show that he can still compete with the best players in the world. I'm really, 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 really happy. I'm really, really happy. I have some comments here. Viral Moment says, I'm hopeful Silva will give him time to express himself, especially with the creative outlets at Fulham. Yeah, I really hope so. He says, Iwobi is a very likable player, to be honest. I think his commitment is what puts him on that kid. Yes, Iwobi is one of those players that whatever you ask him to do, whatever you ask him to play, he's going to do it for you. Real cases, Sam will struggle with the pace and physicality of the English Premier League. I don't necessarily think he would struggle. Yes, there's always the potential for any player to struggle with the pace and physicality. The physicality part, I disagree, because he might not be the strongest, but look at, if you have the skill, you have the skill. Look at this Chelsea boy, Esteval. Esteval is a skinny kid, but yeah, come and bully him now if he will not embarrass you on that field. Look at what he did to our own
Cook our brother.
Our own Calvin Bassey as well. So yes, you might say, oh, Chukwueze is not the most physically imposing guy. But if he has the skill, by the time he does 1 or 2 to 1 defender, every defender will know that, okay, when you're playing against this guy, you cannot just be rushing. You cannot just want to use grab because he can get past you. So it's all about how Chukwueze is able to beat his man. And I mean, at this stage in his career, I'm sure he has played against all sorts of players, the fast ones, the strong ones, the dirty ones, the very smart ones. And he should have learned 1 or 2 things about, okay, if he's playing against a fullback that is way more physical than him, what does he do? If he's playing against a fullback that is faster than him, what does he do? By now we should have those ideas in his head. And again, he has a good coach in Marco Silva that can teach him the right things to do in the right moments. I don't think that if he struggles, I don't think it's because of the pace and physicality of the league. I think it's because of maybe something like just his inconsistency or other factors that can come up. So, real okay, thank you for that comment, but I think I am going to have to disagree with you on that one.
Me too. Because what about Obama? That is like a drumstick.
Mm-hmm.
And he's performing very well, No, I think Chukwueze seems to go and join Alex Iwobi's, his parents' house, and go and take one of his recovery food.
Mm-hmm.
Chukwueze will buckle up. He's on his recovery food now. Abacha, and that one will help. So for me, I think Chukwueze is one of the players that beat for the Premier League.
Okay, we're looking forward to that one. Moving forward, Adeoton says AyoT, yeah, so funny. Premier League #1 in the world. No one English clubs. Again, I don't know why people try to argue this thing. The Premier League is #1 league in the world, no matter how you look at it. It doesn't mean that every Premier League club can beat every other club in the world. But it's the biggest league, it's the strongest league, it's the most competitive league. I don't know why people try to argue it. You might not like the hype that the league gets, but it is the top league in the world.
And AyoT, since the new format of the Champions League, Europa Conference League now, the Premier League in the Conference League would likely win it. The Premier League in the Europa League would likely win it. So it's just as if you want Getafe against Peter Palace. With due respect, I don't think Getafe will get a chance. Well, I don't know. We're going to talk about the player now.
Ramaman says, I'm looking forward to Chukwueze versus Cucurella. Say Cucurella,
don't be like Gary
handle any winger, but he'll have some interesting battles, and those battles, iron sharpens iron. So hopefully Chukwueze is iron, and those other players can sharpen him, and they don't just completely crush him. But it's going to be very interesting to see how he develops as a player. He's at the age where he should be getting to his best, playing his best football. So I'm really, really looking forward to that one. So let's talk about another Nigerian player, another transfer that has happened on deadline day. Not in the Premier League. We'll end with the Premier League. This is in German Bundesliga. I'm talking about Victor Boniface. Boniface, of course, his move to AC Milan collapsed after the medicals, and there were concerns about would he stay at Bayer Leverkusen, would he go elsewhere? And today we've heard that SV Werder Bremen have signed him on a season-long loan from Bayer Leverkusen. Werder Bremen, their striker right now when you look at his numbers, doesn't compare to a player like Victor Boniface. So I'm believing that Boniface should and would be able to go and walk into the starting 11 at Werder Bremen. With the struggles that he has had in the last season because of injuries, because of his field transfer to Al-Nassr, losing his place in the team, do you think that this is a good move for Boniface? He's still in the same league, is in the same division, but he's going to a quote unquote smaller team than his current team. How do you think this can work out for him?
Are you sure it's a smart team?
Well, of recent.
Okay, of recent, but
See,
because this Leverkusen, they can sell their soul now. But let me just let me just look at Boniface. Initially, what I prepared to say about this transfer, I will not say it. I just go in a different direction. This is a transfer that when I heard that they are looking for Victor Boniface, I pray that it doesn't work out because I think that he's a player that was linked to a 50 million pounds move to the Premier League. If you remember, it's a player that was valued around 50 million pounds. But look at what is happening. Was on the verge of joining Al-Nassr in January. To what's it called? The move to AC Milan collapsed. So I was like, oh my all this cannot actually what happened. But I think that he needs love. He needs where he can start afresh. Most of his friends that they really vibes together in Bayern Leverkusen, they're not there any longer. Players like Jerome Frimpong, players like
Adli.
Adli, Granit Xhaka, that they were together. The guys that are
Even Florian Wirtz.
that they are together, they already left. So, it's unfortunate that he actually is living for a team that is nowhere, as you said earlier, good compared to Bayern Leverkusen. But it's good for him to have a start. This is like a safe career move, for Victor Boniface, where he can show his key again. And don't forget that it's still the same league. If he performs very well, similar to Onika's move, from Brentford to Augsburg, just to prove himself and get more playing time. So a good performance for Werder Bremen will put me on the spotlight, so that other people can also see that this guy is good. He's good enough. So for me, what I can say is that I wish him best of luck. Was I just think that with due respect to to Werder Bremen, I think Boniface is better than Werder Bremen. But this was just a safe to so move, like similar to Victor Osimhen's move to the last season. Not this one though. I'm talking about the low move then. That's all hope lost. Just move to Gala. So it's similar to Boniface moves.
Victor Boniface to SV Werder Bremen. I like it for him because he needs a new challenge. He needs a team that he can revive himself, that he can reestablish himself, that he can prove the doubters wrong. Things have not gone too well for him in the past year at Bayer Leverkusen, and people have started to talk too much. People have started to talk about him like he is not a good player, like he is not the same player who led his team to the title unbeaten, like he is not the same player who was top goal scorer in the Europa League, who led his team to the Europa League final. Like he's not the same player that was tipped to go and be one of the stars of the AFCON before he suffered an unfortunate injury before the tournament. The disrespect for him has become so much. Some people will say, oh, well, it's because he's not scoring goals for Nigeria. But then disrespect has passed levels that I think he should have gotten to. Yes, you might talk about his off the field antics, playing on social media, always being on, live stream, etc. But those things are not football things. His football, he is still a very skilled, very technical player. I used to say that he was one of the most technical players that we have, because what he can do on the ball, a lot of players just don't have the same level of skill. Now, talent is not enough. We all know this. At the professional level, consistency, mentality, discipline, professionalism, all those things also play a role. And I really hope that at Werder Bremen, he can put his head down, knock on wood, he can stay injury-free, because injury is one of the biggest distractions in a player's career. He can stay injury-free and he can score goals again. Score 15 Bundesliga goals, score 5 goals in the cup competition. Show us that you are still the player that we saw in Belgium. In the first season at Bayer Leverkusen, you are still that player. When you look at his Bayer Leverkusen career, his goal return is still very good. His assist return is still very good. I'm going to rate this transfer a 6.5 out of 10. I think obviously Werder Bremen is not a big club. It's not a very good club right now. So you cannot rate the transfer too highly. But for a player like Boniface, I think is what he needs. No spotlight. He's not going to a team that everybody's going to be watching him week in, week out and saying, did he score? Did he not score? But he has an opportunity to light it up over there and put the spotlight on himself and on his club. And if he does well after this season, he'll be joining a bigger team. He'll be joining a better team. Or maybe even the Bayer Leverkusen will be begging him to stay. I'm excited for this move. I want to see how he does, and I wish him all the very, very best. You guys that watch me know that I am big on Victor Boniface. I like him as a football player. I think he's a very good football player, and he has been through a lot. And I'm happy that he seems to have a little bit of respite now. It's all about how he performs. He needs to prove everybody wrong. This is a big opportunity for him. Let us see how it goes. Bobby was asking, what do you guys make of the Boniface move? I hope that we have answered your question. Now, I hope we've answered the question. Well, yes, Victor Boniface. It's going to be an exciting one. Okay. And then finally, let's wrap up with a move to the English Premier League for a Nigerian player. We're talking about a player that, Smith Layi, you've been big on since last season, earned his way to the Super Eagles of Nigeria and has now played his way to the English Premier League. Chrisantus Uche. Look at this picture, man. He's already looking clean. He has not even stayed 3 days in London yet. He's already looking clean. He's looking like a fresh guy. Young Chrisantus Uche has joined Crystal Palace in the English Premier League. Is a season-long loan with a buy option, a mandatory buy option. So next season, they're going to make the transfer permanent. Smith Layi, what do you think about this move? And how do you think Chrisantus will do in the Premier League?
I know I did not expect him to move this summer, but Gaddafi want to sell and Palace want to buy. When you are a willing seller and you have a willing buyer, what is, there's nothing left now. So, and I think that's actually what Ohio is actually what is moving. If you look at his last game was it against Sevilla? Last game was it against Sevilla? That I think they won against Sevilla. He went to meet the Gaddafi fans and he was nearly crying just to tell them, like I think the move's already on the cards then. So I wish him well. I wish him well. It's a very good move. It's a chance for him to show himself, early in the Premier League. I can tell you that he get the move to Italian clubs, Como, AS Roma, for Premier League. So I'm happy for him, and I think that he's built for the Premier League. I know that yesterday when we had these conversations about he's not going to go there to bench Mateta. He will not replace a village. See, different people, different skill sets. The way Luka Modric plays the number 10 role is different from the way Kevin De Bruyne plays it. So everybody cannot be a village. The way Luka Bacchio, the Sevilla guy, plays the right wing, and the way Chukwueze plays is different. But they are both effective in different areas. So it depends on how the coach wants to use him. But for me, I think that is it Gassler? Oliver Glasner? Oli Glasner is a guy that relies on data. And for him to sign a player, he knows exactly what he wants to get from that player. What I'm sure of is that Uche will not give him a cold shoulder like McGuay. Uche will respect him, and Uche will give him 100%. For me, I see Uche spending a season or two there, and the guy will not call it down. The sky is in fact, the guy is a very, very good player, and this is not the ceiling now. There's more to come, because if you go and check him during summer, does he have support belly? He worked on himself. In fact, you can actually see his face. He's even more built, like worked on himself. We can see the fitness level to tell you that he's disciplined. All those things are not disciplined. That is why you see people pregnant on the streets. So for him to be on holidays and still work on himself, come on, this guy is disciplined, and I think he's going to do very well.
Chrisantus Uche to Crystal Palace. I love this move for him. I honestly do. I love this move for him. You know, I thought he was a better fit for Wolves when Wolves initially wanted him, but Crystal Palace is a much better club than Wolverhampton Wanderers. So I'm happy that he's ended up here. I'm very interested in seeing how Oliver Glasner chooses to use him, the kind of role that he plays. They've been playing a 3-4-2-1, 3-4-3 kind of formation this season. I think Mateta remains their number one striker. I think Ismail Assar remains their second option. Can Uche become the third option for them? That's the big question that I have in my head. The club announced him as a forward. Some people have been saying it's only you that calls him a forward, because when I made my post on social media, I said Super Eagles forward Chrisantus Uche. But the club that signed him said they have signed exciting forward Chrisantus Uche. So that makes me have a hint of the way they see him. Now, maybe in training, they decide to convert him into a midfielder. Who knows? It happened to Joel Linton. It can happen to anybody. But the club signed him as a forward. So maybe he takes the spots that Daichi Kamada played in their last match, and he can provide them a different type of skill sets from that position, working hard for the team, driving the ball forward, holding up the play for them, and still getting his fair share of goals and assists. It can be a nice setup for him. I really, really think that he's a good player. This is a guy that only 2 years ago was signed for 800 euro. 800 euros is what they signed him for, Quetta. Then they sold him for, I think, was he 500k to Getafe? And now he's going for over 20 million to Crystal Palace. The rise of Chrisantus Uche is very similar to the rise of Ashake. From nowhere, you are almost at the top of your level of your game. And if he does well in Crystal Palace 1 or 2 seasons, like you said, we can see him at a much bigger team. This transfer for me is a solid 8, 8.5 out of 10. The only thing that could have made it better is if he was joining Liverpool or Man City. But I think that this is a very, very good step for him. This is a team that can push him on to greater things. They are playing in Europe as well. So he's going to be seen on a European scale. He's in the Premier League, so everybody around the world is going to be watching him. He's going to be challenged, and it's going to be exciting. When they come back from international break, they play Sunderland, so at least he has a fairly comfortable fixture to potentially make his debut. Then they play West Ham before they play Liverpool. And then the real challenge starts when he plays against a team like Liverpool, and we really see how he can hold his own against the big boys in the world. But we've also seen him play in the La Liga, and he did quite well. So it's really, really important. I'm looking forward to seeing how he performs. I am big on Chrisantus Uche now. Again, my only dilemma has always been his position, but the boy has shown that at least in the forward position, he can hold his own. And if they choose to play him as a midfielder, we have to see how he performs there. I'm happy again, another Nigerian player in the English Premier League. It makes me very happy. And I think that this can be a big, big, big year for Nigerian players in the Premier League. I think we have about 8 or 9 of them right now. This can be a big year for our players in the English Premier League. I'm really, really looking forward to it. But congratulations to Chrisantus Uche. I know that he's a humble guy. He works hard. And I'm looking forward to his debuts when he plays for Crystal Palace. I'm really looking forward to it. Okay, I have some comments. Let me take very, very quickly. Fire Moment says Chrisantus Uche's rise needs to be studied. I'm really happy for him. Can't wait for his debut. I'm proud of what Glasner is set to do with him. Real K says Uche will be a revelation in the Premier League. Good signing, Crystal Palace. Somebody is asking, Adedamola says, don't you think it was early for Uche to leave Getafe since he's only had 1 year of experience at professional level? You know, I will say this. Is it an early move? Yes. Does it mean that it was the wrong time to move? No. Sometimes you have to strike while the iron is hot. Getafe wants to sell, the player wants to move, a good opportunity comes for the player trusts in himself, then there is no reason for him not to take the chance. If it was that he wasn't good at Getafe last season and he's making a move, you can say maybe he's not ready for the challenge. But he was good at Getafe and now he's making the move. And why I also don't think it's too early is because it's not like he had one decent season and he's joining one of the biggest teams in the world where there's going to be so much pressure and there's not going to be time. But Crystal Palace will give him the opportunity to develop. They know he's a young player and there's also not going to be that much pressure on him to deliver. If he's joining Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Man U, Arsenal, where there's pressure, there'll be, big expectations for him. But at Crystal Palace, even if he takes 5 matches to get going, nobody is really going to talk much about him like that. Look at Daichi Kamada, who is there, who has played, I think this is second or third season at Crystal Palace, has still not got going. Nobody is talking about Daichi Kamada and criticizing him or anything like that. So Crystal Palace allows him to be able to navigate under the radar and just do his thing and develop steadily. So yes, he moved early. One professional year, he's going to the Premier League. But still, I think he has the tools. He has the physicality. He has the ability, and he also has the drive to do well in that league. I'm not mad about it at all. Smith Layi, I don't know how you feel about that. Do you think it was early?
No, I don't think it's early. I think you have to strike the iron when it's hot, and that is what he did. You see, he's not going to join Man City or join Chelsea. That is going to get baptism of fire. Or he's joining Man U. That guy, never we're talking about him every week. He's joining Crystal Palace, a team that can actually develop. It can develop very well. He's also going to be in London, so he can enjoy life in London. So for me, it's not a bad move for him. I think it's a good. As a guy, is a fighter. If you check the content he did for Getafe, so that he's the 50th best player in the history of Nigeria.
So bad.
Yeah, he's a guy that believes in himself very well. He's a guy with a big heart. Yeah.
All right. Comments here from Environment. It says, my Saturday just got busier. When I'm not watching my club, I'm turning to either of Tolu, Iwobi, Chukwueze, Uche, and the others. I can't wait, man. What a time. Yes. If you're a fan of Nigerian players, you're a fan of Premier League.
I think I need to buy a different screen again.
So you can be watching multiple games, exciting times. So like, let's also quickly just talk about a transfer that did not happen. Ademola Lookman, Atalanta. It seems like unless he decides to go to Turkey, or unless he decides to terminate his contract, or he decides to go to Saudi, it looks like Ademola Lookman is going to be staying at Atalanta. How do you feel about this? What do you think?
He's sad. And I think, I don't know his mental state now, but I think it's very, very sad that, what was promised wasn't fulfilled. I know it's business. You cannot blame Atlanta. They want money too. They're a small club. So they realize that they can only get money. For them to get 60 million, 50 million on the it's too good. Saudi Arabia, they want to get something similar on Lookman too. But it's just very sad that it didn't actually materialize. I know that maybe somebody is there. He told me that I just out the window that Lookman will not leave Atlanta. I was like, with all these offers, saying he will not leave. He said, watch out. Now it's looking as if Lookman will not leave. I felt, very sad, but I just think that he should clear his head. He's coming to Nigeria now. He should clear his head and start again with Atlanta. I'll prefer him to stay in Atlanta than I'm hearing that Galatasaray are already exploiting ways to sign him. Please and please don't sign him. I beg you for God's sake, don't sign him. Don't sign him.
What if it's just 1 season loan?
No, we don't want that 1 season loan. Before they'll go and build something in the sky now. Say, wait for us. Wait, please, wait. He will now wait again. We don't want that, please. We don't want that. That 1 season loan, that's what we saw about Victor Osimhen. 1 season loan done to, he said it's over my house for so many years to come. Please, Galatasaray, please, for God's sake, it should be campaign now. You and Fenerbahce, please don't bid for him. Please, for God's sake, let him just end Atlanta. Maybe by January we move. Please.
Okay. It's so interesting because I wish that they were able to find a solution to his problem. I know that Lookman would rather not be there. They know that Lookman would rather not be there. But I guess they just feel like they were not going to let him go for less than what they feel like he should command. I was comparing him earlier to Yohan Wissa. Yohan Wissa just joined Newcastle for 55 million. Yohan Wissa is older than Ademola Lookman. Yohan Wissa, is also an African player that is also going to be going to the AFCON. And Yohan Wissa only has 1 year left on his contract, whereas Lookman has 2 years left on his contract. So if Yohan Wissa can command that amount of money, you would wonder, why can't Ademola Lookman command that amount of money? It's unfortunate because these Italian teams are, broke clubs and are low balling. But I think Lookman's agents, I don't know if they were not working hard enough. But they should have been able to find a move for him, in my estimation. But now that he's there, he's going to have to get back to work. If Atalanta tell him to come and play, he legally has to play. Otherwise, they'll just keep finding him. I don't think that he would want to go 6 months of not collecting salary because they are finding you your salary non-stop like that.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll probably have to go back to work. And then maybe January, he can find a move, By January, some teams would have been struggling. Maybe some teams, their striker would have injured. Or maybe they signed a striker, the striker is not delivering, or a forward or something. And then they will say, okay, we need to go and make an emergency signing. And they can get him. But last, Galatasaray.
I beg. I see. Don't give that publicity, I beg. Don't give that publicity, I beg. It should not go near him, I beg.
Lookman and Osimhen, it will build their chemistry.
No.
Don't
Don't chemistry in the Turkey.
But it's interesting. Let's see what happens, man. I just hope that he's in a good enough mental state because he's about to resume camp, for the Super Eagles. I hope that he's in a good enough mental state to play. If he's not, they might have to give him a rest, and trust other players. But I hope that he's able to, stay. And I hope that he has been staying fit, and staying active. Even though training fitness and match fitness is two different things entirely. So maybe he might not be able to start. But at least we hope that he's still going to be able to get us reasonable contributions because he's a player that we rely on and we know what he brings to the team when he's at his best. A lot of people are laughing. People don't want him to go together.
No. So two our best two players now in Turkey. No. No.
All right. That's that on Ademola Lookman to Galatasaray.
I don't think
I think we covered all the bases.
Yeah.
I wish our Nigerian players all the best. This summer transfer window went from very underwhelming to decent, to quite good at the end of the day. We did not have any blockbuster transfer. For me, the most exciting transfer that happened this summer is Ajibade to PSG. But on the men's side, the most exciting transfer for me is Uche to Palace. For me, on the men's side, the most exciting transfer is Uche to Palace. I cannot lie to you. I did not think that after one season, Uche will be playing for Crystal Palace in the English Premier League. Arokodare zone is a lot more predictable because he has played 2 years in Genk. He has won the highest goal scorer. It was a lot more predictable. But Uche, I didn't think he will have this kind of meteoric rise. Smith Layi, which transfer for you is most exciting?
I think I have to agree with you. I think it's Uche, and I think this is the best move for Nigeria. And unfortunately, we are saying that the move to Palace is the best move. That is where we are now.
That's where we are. We have to deal with our reality.
We have to deal with our reality. So move to Palace is the best move. That's where we are. I was expecting that with Osimhen's move is going to be the highlight of the summer's move and Lookman. But unfortunately, the two did not live up to expectations. So I think it's Uche. Uche closely with Tolu.
All right. Sounds good. Okay. I think that's that on the summer transfer window. Wow. It's been a good one, man. And of course, we still are going to see some deals in the next few days. Maybe Dennis, Iheanacho, some other free agents players, some people going to Turkey. What is the most underwhelming transfer?
The most underwhelming transfer.
If you talk now, some people go vex. So.
You know why? They know the answer I want to mention.
Yeah, talk now. What's the answer?
I think it's Boniface. I think I don't think, I don't know if somebody is here who was telling me, Boniface is lingo. I said, God, it should not happen. Because I think that with this Leverkusen sacking the after just 2 games, I think a new coach might give me like a new lease of life in Leverkusen, and he go play in Champions League. So now our Champions League gets reduced by 1 again.
I think for me, I'm going to go with the other Victor Osimhen. I think that's the most underwhelming transfer. Big hype, big expectations to end up in Turkey. It's just
okay. If Osimhen, which one would be better? If Osimhen moved to Bremen Osimhen moved to.
Osimhen is bigger than Boniface now, so we can't
Yeah.
we can't talk about him moving to Werder Bremen. Boniface has had a tough year,
It's tough, yeah.
you know. But like, if they are talking about somebody joining Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, and Barca, those were the teams that we were hearing.
Mhm.
And then for him to not end up in Gala is like, come on now, come on. It's like I tell you that, oh man, I'll take you to America, then I fly you to Togo. You know, it's just, it was just very underwhelming. On the face of it, it's not like he joined a terrible team, but considering the hype, the expectation versus the reality,
Mhm.
you know, I think for me, Osimhen's was the most underwhelming. I know people would have all sorts of opinions on it, you know, so we wouldn't get into it too much.